Now, this next category, super, super fascinated in. I think this is one of the biggest challenges in marketing. So I like to kind of chop it up about this for a while. And that is the pharma area and the self-care and health, that general area. You've got so many things you need to do. How do you make this investment worth it? And we've seen a lot of people. I see the kind of trend beyond advertising hitting here and doing some help as well. But who were the winners in pharma? And let me know what the data's telling you.
So interestingly, I spoke with Marissa Solis of the NFL. And we did a webinar with her and Chris Bellinger from PepsiCo. And she gave me her prediction that a lot of the pharma and medical manufacturers would actually have great ads this year. And of course, she has a lot of data and she sees a lot of these, but she was absolutely right. Some of the top performing ads were from the healthcare and medical space. So pharma companies did great. And the top scoring ad was Wegovy.
Yeah.
And what I have to shout out is, there are a lot of GLP-1 ads and all of them did really well.
Yep.
And, again, we're scoring based on likelihood to, first they have to be likely to purchase.
Precisely.
But that tells us that there's a need, there's a hunger, there's a want that they are addressing directly. And they did it very well because their brand recall was really high in the case of Wegovy. The ad distinctiveness was good. The overall emotion was 64, which is pretty high.
Yeah.
Yeah. In that category, the norm is 57. Whew. And love was 33%. So it wasn't like overly attached to the love emotion like some of the others that we discussed. But the ad from Roe and the ad from Hims and Hers, those also scored very, very high.
Weren't they the top 3 in the overall top 10?
They are.
That's massive.
Yeah, it's massive. And so I think this is a great lesson because there aren't as many pharma, advertisers historically, and they're really doing a great job. They are reaching consumers and they're reaching the target buyer and they're moving them and compelling them to take an interest. Mm-hmm. And that's probably, according to our data, going to lead to sales impact. So,
what I found really fascinating is how different those 3 ads are.
Yes.
You know what I mean? The Wegovy is pun fully intended, but like, a lot of just well done blocking and tackling, with celebrities, but like it was a fun concept, but you're communicating the information. I think in that category this year, communicating the information is actually a huge thing. Whereas like Coke doesn't need to be, we're a refreshing beverage that we think, you know what I mean? Coke, like that's such wasted airtime. Everybody knows we're on the same page. I just thought the Wegovy was a solid, pretty simple but hyped up with celebrities ad that I think they can use for as long as they want. Then we've got Hims and Hers, a little bit of that strategic enemy positioning of like, we are for the people, we're not for the 1%.
Yes.
And then Roe is more of a vibe.
Yes.
You've got your established representative. Maybe they've done a little more groundwork. So it's really just more of a vibe like, hey, we're here. Serena's still doing her thing. Da-da-da-da-da.
That's right.
Yeah. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on like.
Yeah. I mean, all very different positioning. With Roe, they were really focused on making people aware of the product and really, she spoke very compellingly about the product and the benefits of the product. And it was very well done and delivered in a clear and authentic way. And I thought it was, it was beautifully shot. Everything looked really good about that ad. And then for Hims and Hers, it was very interesting because, as you mentioned, they have the strategic enemy, and they did this last year as well, tapping into that sense of outrage in the American public. And that's kind of a risky, bold move, in my opinion. And I am glad to see an advertiser do that because it takes guts to do that.
Yeah.
And they really stand behind it. I met one of their marketing leaders who talked about this. And, they do this not just for their Super Bowl ads, but throughout their advertising. They're very bold, very in your face, and they don't mind taking a stand for something. And that really, last year, was one of the top performing ads. And this year, again, they knocked it out of the park.
Yeah.
So I think that was, 3, as you said, very different styles, very different approaches, and very different emotions, frankly.
Yeah. And showing you where you can go, even in a heavily regulated thing. There are emotions that can be tied in beyond claims of what it does and doesn't do, the products and services that you're offering.